here's the problem that I have when it comes down to CP3 and with Jokic, all right? We need to identify what is the criteria for the MVP award, because I don't know no more, right? To me, I thought it was the player that comes to your team, that impacts winning, that brings your team to another level. I'm not taking anything from Devin Booker, but if you go and look at Devin Booker's stats for the last 3 past years, his stats are still similar. They're the same. So, but you telling me you add a Chris Paul, a Devin Booker that has never been to the playoffs, you add CP3 to that team, and they make them one of the best teams, if not the best
But how
team
did they go 8-0
in the
in the bubble?
NBA.
How did they go 8-0 in the bubble? I just want to know. Like, are we going to pretend that didn't happen?
Can I answer that? Hold on, KP. Hold on, KP. You've been saying that. Let me educate you. We don't give a damn about the bubble. The reason why, time out, the reason why we don't give a damn about the bubble is because they had a 4.5-month layoff, and then they came back. Half the people didn't even want to be there. There was protests and riots.
So the Lakers didn't win the championship?
No, that's not the point.
Oh.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the regular season, the last 8 games of the regular season. We recognize it. I'm talking about as it pertains to this year.
Were the Suns very good at the end of last year?
They were very good at the end of last year.
Were you expecting them to be very good this year, even without CP3?
No.
I was. I think he makes them better.
No, what I'm saying to you.
But they were already good and trending in the right direction.
Number 1 seed in the West?
No, of course
Thank
not.
you.
Not one. Because I thought AD and LeBron would be healthy.
How about 2?
I thought it was possible.
That's a lot.
No,
That's a lot.
you didn't think they were going to be second in the West.
Hold on. It's not that I predicted them to be second in the West. I thought they were among a handful of Western Conference teams who would be very competitive toward the top of the conference.
Not
You actually picked them 6th.
Kendrick,
Not second.
You didn't have
No one picked them second.
Hold on. It's not an issue of whether I did or I didn't. A few games separate the Suns, to me, preseason, the Mavs, the Jazz, the Nuggets. I thought they were all bunched together.
When you get like this, I'm not going to debate you because that's you taking 10 sides now. That's what it is. That's what you're doing.
One side.
You did not have them in the top 4.
It's one
You did not have them in the top 4.
By the way, how many playoff
No,
games have they won?
first he said he did, then he said it doesn't matter if he did.
No, I didn't, but there's tape on this.
You did.
The tape just occurred, but you can try to change it.
Oh, my God, I'm listening.
How many playoff games have the Suns won this year? They haven't won in the playoffs yet. So at the end of last year, they won 8 straight. They added Chris Paul. You expect them to be better. Perk, you used to come on my radio show before the season started. I wasn't arguing with you that the Suns were going to be excellent. We were both talking about how good the Suns were going to be. The Suns have had a great season. Chris Paul's a big part of it, but they were already trending in the right direction, and they haven't won in the playoffs yet. How is he MVP over Jokic?
I just told you why. Same organization, same position, same results.
So Nash should have been MVP?
Chris Paul. I don't know, but he was.
Oh, okay.
Come on, guys, we
He
have to go.
was the
We have to
MVP.
go.
So if they got it wrong, then they should get it wrong again.
Molly, we have to go. I would like to remind everybody, 1989, 1990, a guy by the name of Isaiah Thomas, one of the greatest point guards that ever lived. They had the best record in the league. He didn't get MVP. That was Jordan and Magic. Just saying.
And he didn't get it because Jordan was way better than him.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.